Howdy, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Faab 5 campaign here on the Random Rhapsody Network. I'm Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and GM, and joining me around my virtual table tonight are Alyssa, Joe, Koines, and Kyle. Say hi, everyone.
Hola.
Now, before we begin, we do have a few announcements to get through, starting with the first of our two sponsors for tonight's show, Hero Forge. Hero Forge offers fully customizable tabletop minis with dozens of fantasy species and thousands of parts to choose from. Their easy-to-use design tool lets you build your perfect miniature online using a fully 3D, in-depth character creator right in your web browser, which is where we built the tokens we use for this game. You can build yours today at HeroForge.com. Our second sponsor for tonight's show is XSplit. XSplit is a high-quality virtual webcam background remover that works with your already existing webcam. Using this program, you can protect your privacy while you work or play remotely by blurring the background, removing it entirely, or even putting your favorite picture as the background instead. You can download the app today at xsplit.com, and if you use the coupon code RANDOM with a capital R, you can get 10% off of your purchase. You can find our referral link in the chat and show descriptions. Last but not least, this Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central, we're playing Sonnet of Blood, a Curse of Strahd campaign. The team is currently fleeing the villagers of Jova Village, trying to escort Irina all the way across Barovia. It's getting interesting, and we'll see what happens here next week. Don't forget that 6 p.m. Central here on YouTube. Now you can keep up to date on our schedule and everything we do by following us on Facebook as Random Rhapsody TV and on Twitter as @random_Rhapsody. And that's going to do it for the announcements. So join us as we dive into the world of Loroupa and continue on with the adventures of the Faab 5. And we're back. So when we last left off, the Faab 5 had finally come face to face with Robert Mitchell, the enchanter who had once employed Eloise Brightcrystal in exchange for some gear at the start of her adventure. Eloise had glitter-bombed the human with diamond dust and cast greater restoration on him while flying in midair. With the wizard now free from the cult's brainwashing curse, the team prepared themselves for yet another battle that was apparently approaching down the corridor. The last thing Abir had said when she and Munlin Goldtongue had disappeared was that they were heading for reinforcements. So, everyone hurried into position and readied themselves to surprise attack whomever these reinforcements were. It was actually Apollyon who ended up seeing them first, and was able to do his attack from the mouth of the cavern. The force that arrived turned out to be a human, an orc, an elf, a dwarf, and a gnome, all of whom were decked out in extremely impressive weapons and armor. These 5 warriors rushed to defend themselves, but they were quickly overrun by our much more powerful heroes. And before long last, the final member of that party was defeated, skewered to death by Apollyon and his horns. The dwarf's last words caught the group completely by surprise. He lamented in his final breath that his group were supposed to be great heroes. goes. And so, Fab 5. A thorough search of the other 5 revealed that each was clad in extremely powerful weapons, or extremely powerful armor, and wielding extremely powerful weapons. +2s, in fact. They also were wearing, every single one of them, a ring and a cloak of protection. Robert Mitchell expressed awe in the fact that the quality of these weapons and armor were of a type that he had only ever seen in ancient relics from the distant past. This declaration caused everybody to pause and consider for a moment where or when the portal had taken them, you all. While Mitchell tried to clear up his still somewhat foggy mind from his long time being cursed. But as you all consider the implications of what's going on around you, a question comes to each of your minds. And that question is very appropriately to describe how your character feels about this current situation. How do you feel knowing what's been going on? And Liam, since you're the one who rolled, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Well, they said we are in the past, which can't be because that would mean that I haven't been born yet, but that would mean my present is in the future, but my present is now because I'm right here and now is the past. So I want to go home, but I don't know when or where home is.
That's very fair. Eloise, how about you?
What the fuck? I dissociate for like 20 minutes. I'm distracted for like 20 minutes. What the fuck?
What the fuck indeed. Blood from a stone, how about you?
I mean, I want to trust Mitchell. I really, really do. But he's a bit of a traitor, right? I mean, come on. He did try to kill all of us more than once. I don't know if I could buy that we're in the past. I don't know how that kind of thing would work. I'm not that kind of a magic person. But if they were supposed to be great heroes, they weren't much of a fight. We kind of kicked their ass. So I really hope that they weren't hoping to do anything substantial because they got the shit kicked out of them by us. So I'm
say
hoping
that
I'm
again.
hoping we killed nobodies.
Interesting.
Bunch of nobodies. We're the strongest.
Goddamn right we are.
Well, Apollyon, how are you feeling about your current situation?
I don't know when in the hell or where in the hell I am, but I know that we're gonna take it to all these jabronis. We're in their house. We're going to this cult, and we're gonna put the smackdown on them. Okay? We're really gonna lay into them, get them down on the mat, elbow drop them right in the neck. Total victory.
Probably.
Finally.
So business as usual.
I mean, yeah, that's about right. Well, Fab 5. Business being usual, you find yourselves now surrounded by corpses. That Veil is no doubt already laying out his portable hole to pull the bodies into. I have no doubt whatsoever that that's exactly what he would be doing right now.
Oh hell yeah! Armored zombies.
Well, you all did cast the spells and did your detections. Mitchell helped you out with that, and they are all wearing +2 armor and wielding +2 weapons. So, I'm not sure if you're planning on taking any of those things, but you'd have to do it before he threw them in the hole.
Oh yeah.
If there's anything you want.
Blood took a dagger, a rapier, and a shield.
Nice. I have every weapon I could imagine in one.
That's true.
What did I take? Didn't I take a potion? Oh yeah, potion of Cloud Giant Strength.
Yeah, there were a bunch of potions. I didn't write those down. Somebody else.
Well, I hope
Or
somebody did.
I? Hold on, I might have. Because there was a bunch of healing potions. It was what?
I think there was 4 of them.
Yeah,
back
for
up.
greater or superior.
I think there was one superior. There were graders in there. Yes. Yeah, I've just got the rings of. I've got all the actual gear. I didn't write down the potions.
We can go back and get that stuff later, I guess.
Yeah. Feel free to go watch the previous episode and check, because I don't remember offhand, and I'd have to go look for my notes too. But anyway, you are all now standing there in this very large, wide chamber, which I've described previously, but I'm going to do so again. Your group, while Veil, is pulling all these dead bodies into his hole, are standing in a long row of 6-foot-tall columns, each topped with a large brass brazier that is glowing with bright orange embers. They do put out some heat, but Mitchell also confirmed that all of them are magical themselves in nature. Beyond that, there is a large mound of stone and rock built up, and on top of that, flat surface at the top, there are 5 more pillars, each one only 3 feet tall. Very plain, but beautiful in design. Each one with a stone bowl right on top, with pure clear water sitting in them. Behind that is a very large tree that has been carved from stone and is sitting on a dais. The tree is large and has widespread branches and that sort of thing, but it is completely made out of stone. But behind that is something even more interesting, is a gigantic root that comes out of the ground at one point and goes back in at another. But in the center of this large dais, at the very back of the dais, you can see parts of it in and out of the dirt, almost as though it's been cleared away a little bit. Mitchell, once he had finished casting his spells, kind of sat down for a minute. He prestidigitated his clothes and cleaned himself up as best as he could, but he's still looking kind of ragged and that sort of thing. So he's been trying to groom himself a little, get himself in a little bit more of a sensible shape. He told you all that he just kind of needs a little bit of time to think. And so after, you questioned him a little bit, but after that he just sat down and he started doing this grooming process. Less so, it seems, to out of vanity's sake, but more so, just somebody trying to get their thoughts in order and their head on straight. That sort of thing. So, with that going on, Faab 5, what do you all want to do?
Well, Eloise had a question there about the tree, the root.
Oh, I see it. Does the tree carving remind Eloise of Feyweave Hollow's statue? Is there a statue in Feyweave Hollow? I remember. Oh, you mean the big, the monolith with the tree carving? Yes, very much so. Give me a history check real quick to see. There's parallels, regardless. But give me a history check. Let's see how much you can ascertain.
Oof.
5.
Okay. So the similarities are the obvious ones that you didn't have to roll to get. You've been dealing with this cult for a while. You know about their obsession with the Dreaming Tree. They're not the only ones. Scholars have been obsessed with it. Ohm and the Conclave always had a big interest in this sort of thing. And you've seen this motif going on time and time again throughout your adventures. So are there similarities between the two? Absolutely. But it's just, to you, it's kind of that vague similarity of seeing the same thing over and over and over again throughout this adventure you've been having.
Did we, besides their gear, did they have any insignias or any kind of personal identification information like on them that wouldn't have been like magical gear?
You're talking like just
Like religious symbols, or like, symbols of some, maybe a city they fought for, or militia or something, like anything that a marking of any kind.
Did they have any of the cult markings?
That too, yeah.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Oh, I don't know why it should be at
Well,
it's
you
not
can.
an
You're all,
advantage,
a
but-
couple of
well,
you can do it together. You're fine.
26 then.
With that 26, the first thing that you notice is there are no symbols about their bodies that make you think cult.
Okay.
The cult of the dreamer has often had those amulets of the
Oh, yeah.
dreaming tree with the door and the eye on it. You found it tattooed on people's bodies, and nothing whatsoever pops out at you as you look over these bodies. Some of them do have insignia, however. Each one of them has a small symbol somewhere on their body, either their armor, the shield, the weapon. It's two laurel branches spread to either side, and it has in the center of it a sword, a spear, and a staff.
Like
Would
my
we
sword, spear, and
recognize-
staff weapon.
Well, a lot of you have swords, and a lot of you. You're the only one that
Would-
has a spear.
Would any of us recognize
No, but
this?
I have all
I mean,
three
mine's
in
a
one.
trident. Yeah.
I don't know if it's like, they didn't worship your weapon, I don't think.
Okay.
I can see you. Oh.
On one of them, also, I'll mention. Hold on, let me look here. I think it's this guy, but let me double check. So on the orc, you do find a holy symbol on them. You can.
Do we
someone
recognize the god?
Yeah, someone can make a history check about the symbol of the insignia, and somebody can make a religion check about the god. However, you have to have proficiency in those skills to make these checks.
I've got history. Does anybody have religion? Okay.
Probably Veil.
Ooh. I didn't. God damn, I gotta turn fucking advantage off. Well, 22, or if you want advantage, 28, but 22 at least.
Yeah, it would be 22 on this one. I'll look at Vale to see whether or not he has religion. If
I'm sure
so,
he's got history. No.
I'll let Eloise roll again, but let's just double check. He does have it. He does have it in religion, so you can roll with advantage. I'll allow this.
Woohoo! It's better.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
Please don't be of the fire.
So,
please be of the fire.
What?
I was just sitting there, I was like, please tell we didn't kill the fucking manifestations of Future 5. But I know it's not. It's not them.
Stop your chanting and let Matt talk.
I'm worried.
So, Blood, with your 22 for history, the thing that I'm going to tell you is that you've never seen the symbol or any symbology of it before in your life. It's unique, and that in and of itself kind of is disturbing. Oh, actually, there's one more thing. There's arrows at the bottom of it. There's like crossed arrows in there as well. As far as the religion check, Eloise, you've spent some with your father. He's mentioned in the past, like, there were once other gods that people worshipped that are outside, the five prime deities of Loroupa. He was kind of vague on some of it, but he mentioned a few to you in the past, and you're fairly certain that the orc is currently the god damn it, why is it not opening up? That symbol is the symbol of Groomish, the one-eyed god of the orcs.
Hmm.
So there you go.
I'd like to check out where these guys came from to make sure there's no more people, or see where it is they were hanging out.
Okay. You start making your way down the corridor. It does wind a little bit. How much feet of dark vision do you have? Is it the straight 60?
Not many, just like, yeah, 60.
Okay. So it takes you a little time. You're kind of skulking down quietly, heading along the path. And basically you go for about 120 feet or so before you see in the distance, probably another 120 or so feet, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Bright-ish light, making you think sunlight.
Okay.
Literal light at the end of the tunnel.
Literal light at the end of the tunnel. So
Hooray! Let's get out of here.
Make a quick perception check for any sounds.
go for it. Eloise, how does the earth feel? Does it feel the same as when I connected to it outside? Make a nature check.
Me?
No,
No, Eloise.
Eloise.
Oh, okay.
Liam, with your 15, you're straining your ears, listening, trying to hear something. There is a bit of a commotion outside, but it's indistinct.
Okay. I'll head back now.
Eloise, with your 23, the rock underneath your feet, the dust and the stone, feel very different. Before, you had been in the Dreaming Tree, and it was all that petrified wood turned to stone, and it was very hard. And when you connected with nature, you got a very good sense of it. The ground here, however, is completely different. It's basalt. But with that 23, you can still sense the Dreaming Tree. You can, or at least the power that you recognized when the tree connected with you, and you were filled with its nature power. You feel a similar connection. It's coming from the tree roots that are all the way in the very back of the chamber. It's to your east, at the very back of the chamber.
I want to touch him.
You want to touch it? Okay. You have to climb back up to the top of the dais and start making your way around that big stone tree. But you can see the roots along the ground there, coming up in many different places, and you can feel like you're a druid. You're connected with nature. You're specifically a druid of the land. And so you're connected with the land, with plants and things like that. And that same power that you felt from the Dreaming Tree it's faint. It's not like this big surge of power. It's just something that's there, that this just slight hum that you can feel from it. It's like, how do you describe the feeling of infinity? It's almost just like a little bit of pulse, like this soft, fuzzy sensation that you reach out and you touch the root and you put your hand on it, and when it comes away, your palm just feels a little bit warm and tingly. Heartbeat of the world. Yes, that's pretty accurate. or at least heartbeat of the tree. Poor Eloise has been sick all week, so. You want to touch the roots. Like I said, you reach out and you touch the roots, and you feel that buzz, that hum, with your connection with nature. It's just... It leaves your hand tingling a little bit. Like, I don't know if you've ever turned on a vibrator and grabbed it with your hand and just sat there for a minute, and then you release it, and there's this little bit of buzz.
Oh my!
I just broke Eloise.
Is it because you know exactly what he's talking about, Eloise? Is that why you're laughing so hard? You got her.
It's okay. So, if you ever been to a Chuck E. Cheese, there's this game at this Chuck E. Cheese near our house. Just listen, and it's literally just this handle that vibrates. Like you have to grab onto it and hold onto it, and it becomes more and more and more uncomfortable to the point you have to let go. And there's like different levels and settings on it. It's meant to challenge you to hold on to it, but it's like it's uncomfortable at high levels. And this doesn't feel uncomfortable, but you still feel that buzz, that hum, and your hands are left tingling a little bit from touching it. You're fairly certain, you without a shadow of a doubt, you know these are some roots of the dreaming tree, but they're not stone. They're not petrified. That's real wood underneath your hand.
Well, I assume Veil has collected his trophies.
Yeah, we'll say that Veil has grabbed his five corpses and put them in.
Yeah. Let's be like, hey, don't zombify them just yet. We might actually have to bring them back. So just
Matt, what are the rules on attunement? How long does it take?
An hour.
An hour? Okay, so I can't do that during a short rest.
wait.
Yeah, a short rest is an hour.
What did we pick up? You would need to attune to.
I actually want to de-attune from 2 of my items and attune to 2 new items.
Oh, do you already have them, or was it?
It's something we just got.
Okay.
I don't think I can do that in an hour, though. Is it an hour each? Or...
Yeah.
Yeah, technically it's an hour each.
Okay, I'll wait till we take a long rest.
Well, it's
whatever.
funny that you mentioned that, Apollyon. Like, if you mentioned the fact that, hey, I'm kind of tired, or wouldn't mind resting a little bit. Mitchell actually says, I wouldn't mind getting some rest myself. I honestly can't remember the last time I actually slept. If you all want to take a long an evening and rest up, I do have a spell that can help with that.
Are you giving us?
Is it the Magnificent Mansion?
Are you giving us the mansion?
I do have Mitchell's magnificent mansion that I could conjure up real quick. It only presents as a door that I can make invisible whenever I choose. The drawback is if someone casts detect magic, it is easy to find at that point. Well, if they have the ability to see invisibility, it could be found as well.
Well,
Put it on the ceiling. We can all fly in there.
If someone were to perhaps come across this blood-splattered massacre that we left behind, with no bodies, do you think they might cast detect magic?
That would be what I would do.
Let's do it outside. Let's see what's outside first.
Agreed.
And then we can find some little crevice inside the rock or something that we can put up your special door.
I think this is time for peak paranoia. Okay, so just every condition we can take, this is the time for blood to be perfectly paranoid.
Why are you? I mean, why are you singling me out here?
He's not
Well,
wrong.
you're better at setting. You've got bells and stuff. You've been doing this for a long time.
Well, yeah, because I'm just used to people trying to kill me in my sleep.
Well, normally I think it's overkill, but today I think there's no such thing as overkill. So everything, do it.
Now you want it.
Now, Eloise is asking. I turn and she turns to everybody and asks whether or not she should use Desi, her staff, to cast Speak with Plants and talk to the tree.
Well,
I think absolutely.
I don't
I
see why
suppose-
not. Ask him where the nearest tavern is.
I suppose the dreamer wouldn't know us. So I suppose that shouldn't be too big an issue.
This is a tree, not.
Yeah, but you gotta think he's attached to it. Somehow.
That's the type of paranoia I'm talking about. Keep bringing that stuff.
I can give you more.
Eloise also mentions that these are the last 3 charges in her staff.
What do you? So doesn't it like repower at night or when you go to sleep?
Kind of, sort of. It does some, but it
1D
wouldn't do
something,
all. And
yeah.
there's also a possibility that if she uses these last 3 charges, that the
Oh, it just
staff will
becomes a stick?
explode.
I guess if she would explain that, I'd be like, you know what? Our run of luck as of late has not been, shall I say, magnificent.
If we're getting ready to take a long rest, maybe just have that on the agenda for first thing tomorrow.
I will sneak you back in tomorrow and you can talk to the tree, I promise. If you could possibly blow up, that would be bad.
Yeah, we got a thumbs up for that plan B.
I guess before people walk outside his blood, I'll be like, now, if we really are back in the original time of the Dreamer Tree, I have told you, everybody, that my people once believed that we were brought here as slaves to work for the Dream. So I don't know if walking around as a tabaxi is going to be a good idea.
Well, you've got the ability to be whoever you want, don't
I
you?
can. That's why I'm saying he's gonna do disguise. He'll do it once for now when they walk out until they can find a place.
Oh, make yourself a pretty elf. Do it. Come on now.
Those are fighting words. Don't. He's just gonna make himself like a nice, yeah, he's going human. He's just gonna look down at himself and just be disgusted. But he's gonna look like just some human he saw at the conclave one time.
Okay.
Oh, that's intriguing. It's an intriguing idea, Eloise. However, what if they go, oh, hey, that guy, it's his name. We'll keep that under her hat. Well, that'll be a possibility.
Right, you wouldn't even know to respond to the name.
Exactly.
So just a nondescript human. Liam, are you back to a human as well?
Yeah, I've been back to a human for a while now.
Okay, I just couldn't remember offhand.
But I do get it back after a short rest so I could change again if necessary.
Fair enough. Well, as you're all discussing heading out, Mitchell looks to you all and he says, "If you don't mind, I'm just having a very hard time. I'm pretty well tapped out. I'm kind of thinking I might hide myself amongst you all. That way, there's no real attention on me, and I can sit down and organize my thoughts, because I really need to figure this all out. So if you don't mind, Eloise, I'm gonna transform myself into a mouse and hide amongst your satchel there. If the coast is clear and everything's fine, I'll come back out again. But I wouldn't mind just sitting and thinking for a little bit without being disturbed.
I think Eloise got like a pouch specifically for like 3 or 4 mouse, and she's got a little free space in there.
You watch as he polymorphs himself down into a mouse and goes scurrying up Eloise's tail and hops into her backpack.
Just
So-
in theory, what would happen if Eloise polymorphed herself into a mouse while he was polymorphed in her satchel?
I would think he would spit out the bag. He wouldn't become
Probably.
part of her.
Okay.
Yeah, probably. But anyway, with that, the 5 of you gather together and you're planning to make your way towards the entrance of the cavern, which Liam did tell you all he could hear something going on out there. He's not quite sure. But there's definitely some commotion. You all make your way down, heading along the tunnel, which, as I said, winds for about 120 feet or so towards the entrance of the cave. As you all approach, go ahead and give me a perception check, somebody, with advantage. We're all working together.
"31."
So, you can see at a distance that there are forms, probably around 50 or so, 50, 60 feet around the entrance to the cave. They're tents. Mostly of cream color. There are green flags on the top of them. You can see some signs of movement and that sort of thing. You can also hear a bit of commotion now that you're getting closer. There's people chatting that's very indistinct. Like imagine if you're standing and at the other end of the room, some people are talking. So you can hear the commotion. But it's a jumble. You every so often hear a word or two, but again, the language is kind of wonky and it's difficult to make things out without really getting close. Veil is going to go ahead and cast the spell Comprehend Languages.
In normal circumstances, we tend to stick out like sore thumbs. I assume our dress sets us even further apart here, does it not?
Is that rhetorical, or are you asking somebody specific?
I'm asking you, it's not rhetorical. I'm just thinking out loud.
Well, if you are indeed in the past, like what the discussion has been, yeah, your clothes are definitely unique.
Yeah, we feel like Bill and Ted here, just like weird clothes in this time.
Creeps.
A little bit. Are you going to continue and head out of the cave, or you have something else you want to do?
No, I just want to try to not make eye contact with anybody, act like I'm supposed to be there.
Okay. Can't hear you, Joe. Still can't hear you, Joe.
Oh, goddamn, my button got stuck.
No.
Surrounding the outside of the cave, you said about 60 feet out?
Yeah, it's like, imagine there's the entrance to the cave, and then you can see at the distance there are tents, and you estimate probably about 60 or so feet past, just ahead.
Great. And it's pretty light out?
It is.
Fucking balls. Because is anybody looking at the cave?
So I imagine you're all kind of back away from it a little bit, trying to stay out of sight. And it is a dark cave, so unless you move to the entrance of it, you're probably not going to be seen.
Alright. Yeah, because if we come out, look at as weird as we do. And those 5
Right.
people that just went in and we're coming out, they're going to ask questions.
Yep, I've got an idea. I have something in my bag that I haven't used almost at all. It is a tambourine. I'm
Okay.
gonna pull it out. I'm gonna start singing. Because no matter what, bards never fit in. So if I act like a bard, maybe it'll just be the weirdo guy. So I start marching through there and singing. Well, a long time ago, way back in history, when all there was to drink were nothing but cups of tea, along came a man by the name of Charlie Mops, and he invented a wonderful drink and he made it out of hops.
Love it. Give me a performance with advantage as you're hitting that tambourine.
Awesome. 26.
26. That brogue you've got is just singing those notes clearly, playing along with the tambourine, and you're just walking towards the entrance to the cave, while Blood from a Stone is behind you, probably face palming at this point.
Big time. Almost wondering if he needs to pull out his bow and fucking shoot Liam in the back of the neck to stop him.
Yeah, but with the 26, you almost catch your toe tapping because he's pulling it off pretty good.
You're singing a song that hasn't been written for 15,000 years.
Think about that.
As you're doing that, you start making your way out to the towards that cave entrance, and the moment you come into view, there's like a lot of clamor. People are talking. Sounds of voices are sounding throughout this camp. You're starting to see people rushing forward, going around, heading towards the entryway as well. And there's a lot of them. You're seeing about 4 dozen or more individuals. Lots of different species out there. Dwarves, elves, humans, orcs, gnomes. You're seeing, you see a few tabaxi as well. And quite a few other, races, like, bugbear, hobgoblins. People of all sorts, crowding around. You're hearing a lot of clatter, and as Liam comes into view, and it finishes that song at the mouth of the cave, finishing with this huge tambourine, shake. Literally, everyone around you starts cheering and clapping and hollering. Do the rest of you follow suit? Follow him out? You all saw this happening.
Sure, yeah.
Blood's gonna
Do
stick.
I see any minotaurs out there?
Perception check.
Yeah, Blood's gonna stick to the shadow a little bit. He's just gonna have the bow drawn for anything that fucking happens. Oh, that was
8.
almost a 17.
You do not see any minotaurs, unfortunately.
Yeah,
All right.
he's weary of this whole situation. You want him to be paranoid, he's gonna be fucking paranoid.
So yes, it is daytime, but for the sake of what's going on right now, it's not daytime for Desi. Because it's complicated.
Oh, shit.
Now, you're all... Eloise, I imagine you follow Apollyon as well, and the 3 of you are standing there. Veil just looks over to you, Blood, and he kind of shrugs, and he follows as well. Being carried by his 2 remaining zombies.
Oh my god, I forgot about the fucking zombies. Oh, how do I forget about the zombies every time?
They died. I could swear they died.
No, he did have 2 that were
had a couple
hanging
left.
back.
Oh,
Damn it! Thank God he didn't animate the heroes.
are you sure they didn't die?
Yeah, he had a
before?
couple that were
He
spared.
had 2 to spare. I remember,
I love
and
it.
they are carrying him as they approach. And
I
like,
think they both crit on their Constitution saves after like a fire shit like that, and you let them come back. Yeah. God.
Wait. I mean, is this one of those times that Vale would say the old Vale may have done that, but the new Vale, knowing that we're being paranoid, wouldn't have?
Oh
I
God,
think this is
no.
absolutely appropriate right now.
I'm
Totally.
trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's not here to defend himself.
Hey, we're in
But
the past.
here's
Maybe necromancers aren't looked down upon here.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Like, when people see Vale being carried out by these zombies, more cheering erupts.
Oh my God.
And there's like hoops and hollers, and a few individuals, 4 of them in fact, kind of move their way through the crowds and are coming to the front, and they're just kind of the 4 of them have their arms crossed and are kind of looking over the 4 of you all, Vale, Liam, Eloise, and Apollyon. I'll go ahead and describe for you all these 4. Now, the first one is actually it is an elf woman that steps forward. This elf is clad in like the most beautiful plate armor you've ever seen. It's kind of gaudy, but at the same time, it's also battle scarred in places and kind of dingy. But you can tell that this woman keeps it very, very clean, or at least tries to maintain it. She is tall, she is slender, as most elves are. High cheekbones, pale skin. She is obviously a high elf. Long platinum blonde hair that's kind of tied back in this gigantic ponytail going down her back. And she has a great axe that she kind of had over her shoulder, but as she's standing there staring, she kind of drops it down and places it into the dirt and is kind of just leaning on it a little bit, watching the proceedings. The second is a dwarven man. Bright red hair, long beard that's been braided. He seems to be wearing mostly black leathers that are studded. He has a short sword at his back and a crossbow over his shoulder. He also has a ledger, a book in his hand. That he's currently now glancing down at and flipping through pages, and then glances back up at the 4 of you, and then back down again. The third is even shorter than him, a gnome woman, very old gnome woman. You can tell just at a glance that she's got to be in her 4th century at the very least. Short, spiky silver hair, long nose, long ears, wearing very simple robes of dark red and purple. And she's carrying a staff that she's currently leaning on, but you're not sure if it's more like, she's old and is using it as a walking stick, or if it has significance being like, something magical or not. The 4th is an average height man. At first you thought possibly a human, but as the 4 of you look closer, you notice that he has very golden, almost tanned skin. His head is completely bald, kind of shaped like an egg. He has very large ears, like almost satellite dish style, big ears on the side of his head, and his eyes are the purest blue you've ever seen. He's wearing very simple clothes, just a simple shirt and pants in tan colors, cinched with green. He's a smooth skin, high cheekbones, and he just seems to have this air of serenity about him as he looks over the 4 of you all.
No, that's impossible. I didn't say anything. I'm still pretending to be a bard.
The woman the elven woman, she calls out and says something to you all in a language that sounds kind of commonish, but also not commonish. Like I've described it before, as though like imagine you are an English-speaking American, and then you go hear Middle English from the 15th century. There's similarities. There's a lot of similarities, but there's also a lot of differences. However, Veil, having cast the spell Comprehend Languages, he whispers over to the three of you. She said, I see only 4 of you. Where is the other?
Excuse me?
I don't know who you think we are, but we're just passing through. So nice to meet you.
The cheering stops. It slows down and stops as this speaking back and forth happens. Everyone seems to be looking very confused again, and the woman. You see the elf turn to the gnome and say something to her, and the other one says something back, and Veil whispers to you. She's saying, "Why can't they understand us?" The other one, the gnome, said, "Try again. Try to. There's something seems to be wrong." The elf then turns again and says, "There are 4 of you. Is there a 5th?"
We can understand them though, right?
No, you can't. It's Veil.
Veil will interpret. That's right.
Is he gonna say this loud? Because Blood's got a 22 passive. Would he be able to hear Veil saying? I guess how you guys go out.
With your 22 passive, you're hearing Veil say, repeat what she says.
All right, Blood's gonna walk out. He's slinging the bow. Kind of give a little wave. Pull his hood back. He just looks like a normal blonded human.
Normal blonded human. You step out as well, and then immediately cheers start erupting again. Loud cheering.
What?
The elf starts waving her hands, calling out to everyone, and then Veil's translating. Silence, silence. Keep it down. We must determine if these truly are the 5. She then looks up at you, and the gnome says, "Ask about the items. Ask about the items." The elf calls out again, "Do you carry the signs of the heroes? 5 has entered and 5 has returned. Do you carry the sword of fire?" And Veil translates.
Liam, surprised that's called out first, pulls out this rod and transforms it into a fire sword right in front of him.
Whoosh! Your sword ignites and you hold it upward, and cheers erupt once again. Yeah!
Liam retracts quite a bit. No, even more confused.
You guys will get used to it. Everybody cheers for me everywhere we go.
Buddy, this ain't good. Let's.
The elf calls out again. "And the bow of ice. Do you possess the bow of ice?"
Veil says that. I guess Blood's just gonna. Is there like a tree or something like that nearby, or something he can Anything?
I mean, there's tents. There's tents everywhere. They all have flags at the top of them and that sort
Yeah,
of thing.
you're not a cat. You don't want to climb a tree like a cat. You're a
That
human.
would be fine. What?
You
Yeah,
can't
I mean,
see there's probably some trees around too. I don't see.
I
why
mean,
not.
because he's also, I mean, he's got 600 feet of range. So yeah, he just pull it out. I guess.
Oh, you're gonna use it?
Yeah, because I mean, he'll just pull it out. He'll fire, one of the kind of arrows that materializes, and I guess it bursts into a shards of ice once it hits it.
It does. It does. And everyone watches this with an ooh and an ah, and then cheers erupt again. She then asks, "And what of the spear of lightning?"
Oh, you know it, baby. And Apollyon does like a little
God.
dance step routine, like he's twirling a baton for a marching band. And at the very end, he like drives it into the ground and makes the lightning come up out of it.
Just this explosion of lightning, and more cheers erupt. You're starting to see these four now are smiling a little bit, or at least the other three. The golden skin man, clearly an Asimar, is kind of nodding and stroking his chin thoughtfully. The gnome and the dwarf both have smiles on their face. The elf looks more suspicious, or at
She
least she
should.
has a scowl on her face, and she says, "And the staff of nature's fold, do you possess this?"
I guess coughing fit comes over her.
And Eloise is just gonna kind of look at everyone else in her group, and is going to kind of like gently pop Desi kind of in front of her, and then encourage Desi to go into their tree form. But I'm not gonna let go, and it's almost like I'm holding onto one of the branches as it springs up. I go up with her.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
I'm
you
just kind of like
absolutely-
sitting in the tree, and I'm just like waving my legs.
And just the cheers double or even triple. They're going crazy at this sight now, laughing. And you can see now, as high as you are, this camp can't have more than like 40, 50 people at most. It's not a huge camp. You can see that you're in a very large crest of a valley, with just a little bit of a hillside that this cave that you were just in was situated on. As you look about, you turn and look behind you, and in the distance, like you're sitting in a big tree right now, like I think it's like a 50-foot tree. You turn around and you can see the largest tree behind you that you have ever seen in your life. Its branches stretch out into the stratosphere. The trunk is probably bigger around than most cities you've seen. It's certainly bigger than the circumference of Port Valena. There are massive roots spread all about it, almost like a giant spider web of connected roots going all throughout the thing. And surrounding the very base of those roots is a massive wall. You can't, like, you're just estimating size and scope, and your mind's kind of boggling a little bit to see this massive wall around those gigantic roots at the base of this tree. They gotta be at least 100 feet tall to see them at this distance, because you're looking at something way, way in the distance. Like, imagine a picture of Mount McKinley in Alaska, and you're seeing it from Anchorage. That's kind of the depth and scope of the space between you and this massive, massive tree. But it's there. Or if you're Canadian, the you've had to have, maybe not, but the Rockies. Imagine the Rockies. I think the Rockies go up to Canada. Anyway, last but not least, once the elf finally is able to calm them down, she calls out, "It is clear that you command the undead. So we need no proof of that." And you can all hear like the satisfaction in Vale's voice when he says this. But the last thing she says, "One more sign is the proof we are looking for. The gem. Do you carry the gem of heroes?"
What's the gem of heroes?
Is that the shard that Vale has?
When Liam mutters that to the rest of the group, you see Vale kind of reach in to his inner pocket and pull out that small, kind of fist-sized shard of the Ambar Belthor's heart. And he just kind of looks at it, and there's a gasp from the crowd. The bald man steps forward now, between your group and the rest, and he does this very light spin as he turns. He raises up his hands, and the voice that comes out of his mouth, you all can understand it. But it seems so can everybody else. As he says, People, it's very clear now. These carry the weapons of the legendary heroes. They carry the gem that I myself foretold so long ago. I can say now, with absolute certainty, as I look upon them, that these are the 5 who will lead us all into victory. These are the great heroes, come to save us all. And then he spins and he looks back at all of you, and you just see this broken line grin over his face as he looks over each of you.
Liam's jaw just drops as he collapses to one knee, barely holding himself up with the flame sword.
He looks back at you and he says, "Not bad, kid. You're able to stop yourself with that sword. You have a decent false ability."
That's supposed to be Ohm.
Yes, of course, Bow, you idiot!
Yeah, I'm good.
The man who you seem to think is Ohm places a hand on your shoulder, Liam, and it's very reminiscent. You've been in this position before, and that hand that touches you, calloused, scarred, thickly strong. He just kind of pats you and says, Get up. I think it's time we have a talk, but first," and he turns everyone. "People, Loroupian Fellowship, one and all survivors of the desolation of the Great Wisdom. It has been foretold that 5 will enter and 5 will return. The Nightmare Child is theirs to spurn. With burning blade and bow of cold, spear of light in nature's fold, must brave the tempest of its hate, and cast the bones for all our fate. Here they are, people, look upon them. The age of the annihilation of the great wisdom is at hand." And everyone just cheers this loud cheer. Hats are being thrown, weapons are being fired into the sky, that sort of thing. It's just a calamity of chaos and cheering. And as that's happening, the dwarf and the elf step forward to you all and says, "Please come with us immediately. We will escort you to the leadership's tent." And Veil, interprets that for you.
Well, I don't know how, but they clearly expected us.
And well, they expected the weapons we have. But
These weapons weren't here till we brought them.
Yeah, but they didn't. They don't know that I am not what I appear to be at the moment. So they didn't expect us. They expected something.
I don't think they seem to care.
Just because
Why?
you are not you doesn't mean you're not you.
That's what I'm saying. What is going on here? If this is really as far back as we think it is, what is... How could they have prophecies of us and we haven't been... How?
You think too much, Blood. We're like gods and
think enough,
heroes to
big
these
guy.
people. Just soak
that-
up the glory.
That doesn't alarm you at all.
No way. Everywhere I go, everyone knows about my great deeds
They
and
don't.
the awesome strength of
Yes,
Apollyon.
Eloise, we're headed to the tents now. Come on down from Desi.
Yep, you coax your staff. It turns back down from a tree into the staff once again. You land lightly and can hurry to catch your friends as they start making their way into the camp while at the same time arguing amongst themselves. Fortunately, Veil is not translating everything you're saying. But Ohm, or the guy you think is Ohm, is certainly looking and watching you all with a very calculating look on his face. And I think that's an excellent place to go on break.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be back in about 10 minutes, folks, so I can go get a drink. And when I return, we're going to continue on with whatever the hell is going on in the distant past.
Eloise did not trip on her tail.
Did not at all. Stay tuned. Howdy, everybody. We are back. And when we last left off, the team made a very interesting discovery. These individuals who are waiting around the tunnel where they had exited were waiting for the legendary heroes to show up. And oddly enough, each of them carried a weapon of some type that corresponded to what they were asking. And so, an individual who looks very suspiciously like a young Master Ohm approached them and told them to come along and we'll have a nice little chat. And so our heroes are currently making their way through this camp where people are just milling about now and cheering and yelling. They've made a path to what appears to be this very central tent in the center of the camp. It's large enough that easily a dozen or more people could stand in it, and that's obviously where this gold-skinned Asimar is leading you all. He approaches the tent, and immediately the guards on either side spread open the curtains and let you all pass. And you are led into a large central tent with a big table in the center, a dozen or so chairs around it, a large post map, just a big canvas map of this oddly shaped island, with a drawing in the very center of it that you can obviously guess to be the gigantic tree that Eloise had just seen. any of you who would glance back and just kind of glance up above the hill that you had just exited could see the treetops of this thing. It's gigantic. It is huge. It dominates the horizon no matter where you're standing. And based on that map you can see that's posted up at the far side of the tent, it's dead center in this the landmass that you're probably currently on. And you can see different placements of things marked along the map as well, which you have no real context for. But we can get into that later. What you do see is the 4 individuals who had stepped forward when you all came out of the cave. The elderly gnome woman, the dwarf with red hair, the elf in her full plate armor and big battle axe, and the Asimar, who looks like Ohm. They all walk in very quickly, and you watch as the dwarf and the gnome start making their way back towards the back of the chamber, and the two of them begin conversing, while the elf comes over to the table and goes right around it to stand in the center of it before turning to look at you all. Now, she's basically placed the table between herself and the 5 of you, as you all start walking your way into this tent, whereas the Asimar waits at the door, letting you all pass before he too goes through, and he comes around and stands to the side of the table. The elf immediately starts speaking to the Asimar, and you can't understand what the elf's saying, but you can understand the man who looks like Ohm. She says something which Veil translates as, "Adamus, this is not what you described to us." To which the man who looks like Ohm, who she called Adamus, responds by saying, "Well, that's the nature of these things. I've told you this many times, Lavados. Visions are never exact. They are always given in a way that can be open to interpretation." She says, "And what of the others? What of the 5 that went into that camp?" And as you're all approaching and Veil is translating for you, she turns and looks daggers at you all. "Well, legendary heroes," or actually she doesn't use legendary, she uses the term great heroes. "Well, great heroes, who are you all? Where did the 5 go that went into the cave? How is it you have the weapons, you have the tools? Who are all of you?" What do you say?
Vale, would you please tell her that we are the Fab 5?
Oh my god.
Veil says the same
That's right,
thing.
baby.
Veil says the same thing. You can hear it in his language, but he speaks it, and they can understand. And she says, "Fab 5. What does that mean, Fab 5? Just assume Veil's
Yeah.
Well,
It means we're the most fabulous.
I always assume that Vale's Australian, but Jeremy says he can't do an Australian voice. So, Vale translates for me, whale. Can't think of the answer that I had earlier now. I didn't think we were supposed to be there.
Oh my god.
It just kind of happened.
Jesus Christ. Sorry, Vale. But like we've got some questions of our own. What visions? What prophecy? What are you talking about? That you saw us coming through, or you saw at least our weapons coming through? What? Explain that, please.
Vale translates, and as he finishes that, the ASMR says, "Let me take things from here. Just bear with us a moment, Lavados." Well, to answer that question, you see, we have been fighting against the Great Wisdom for years upon years. Our fight has not gone well, as I'm sure you can all imagine. The Great Wisdom's power is absolute. But we few freedom fighters, the freedom fighters of Loroupa, have stood fast and fought long and hard against him. We've rallied the people that we can, those who wish to get out from his tyranny. Unfortunately, as I've mentioned, our battle has not gone well. But I am an oracle. I can occasionally see glimpses of potential futures. One of those potential futures showed 5 individuals coming from, well, the cave beyond. The sanctuary is what we call it. It's a structure that has been around much longer than any of us. The vision I showed saw 5 heroes going into that cave, and 5 heroes returning from the cave, each bearing a sign of their power, of their purpose in this world. The weapons I could see clearly. The individuals, not so much. But I saw them coming from that cave, bearing these weapons and a tool to summon the power of 100 armies, something that could change the course of battle and give us the chance to once and for all destroy the Dreamer and his hold, or not, the Great Wisdom and his hold over this world.
The Great Wisdom.
You've heard this term before. It's something that the cultists have said many, many times, and all of their literature that they possessed, their cultist books, had always mentioned a great wisdom that came and ruled over the world, and how 5 demons showed up to destroy him and take him away from them. Yada yada. And you've also heard the tale of the legendary heroes in your pasts before too. 5 heroes rising up and leading the armies of people against this great adversary called the Great Wisdom. So you've definitely heard that term before.
Sir, Osmi Deus, how is it possible that you gave me the weapon I'm holding right now, but you haven't given it to me yet?
He gives you a very quizzical look. I'm sorry, I've never seen you before in my life.
Wait, I said you haven't given it to me yet. Keep up.
Wow. I don't think this is the same person, but just because they look similar doesn't mean he wouldn't have known you yet If that
Oh, but he
actually
will
were
have
him.
will have met me at some point. And he is now and will be someday and is now somehow who I think he is.
Oh, you're certain of that?
Ozzy here is the one we know. I'm sure of it.
Then how come he didn't mention that before?
He doesn't know who he is.
No, I mean the one we know. If that's him, he would remember meeting us now.
Unless he was afraid of throwing our paths off.
Oh my! Oh, why? Then he would have been like, "Hey, why don't you go here?" And
He didn't
that's
know
just
who
me
we were
saying.
going to be when we were going to be them.
You know what, guys? I think I saw something like this in a theatrical performance
Oh my god!
back in Rowena. Don't, whatever you do, have sex with your grandparents.
Okay, that happened.
That one
Adamus
fell on his head.
Yeah, he fought in the arena for a minute.
I don't know how
beat
to
up.
say this, but we haven't been born yet.
he since you've been speaking with Adamus here, the elf hasn't been following any of this because Veil stopped translating. Adamus, he looks very quizzically at all of you all, and he says, "You all, I'm not entirely sure what it is you're saying, but are
Well,
you
congratulations. Finally, someone's as confused as I am. That's all I wanted.
To be honest, you aren't what we were expecting. I'll say that at least. You see, the other thing the vision showed me is you all arriving years ago. I've been expecting you for quite some time. And when the heroes didn't show up and the battle began to get worse and worse and worse, questions of theology began springing up, and the thought became, well, if the heroes haven't arrived, perhaps that means we were meant to send the heroes in. We sent 5 of our greatest warriors among the army. One
Apollyon and Blood are like snickering in the back. Greatest warriors.
One from each of the prime races, the first who grew here on Loroupa underneath the boughs of the great tree. We hoped that once they went into that chamber, whatever they were supposed to do would become apparent to them. They each carried weapons significant to the vision that I had. But you are obviously not the same men and women. He turns to you, Apollyon. I'm not even sure what exactly you are. You seem to be part bull, part bull, and part winged waver, or something like that.
Thank you. You're far too kind. Regard my appearance lightly, mortal. Matter of fact, look down at the floor when you speak to me. I am the Golden Boi.
Hey, ignore him.
Make an intimidation check, Apollyon.
Okay.
Shit.
Versus
18.
Let's see if
This will determine what stat block does he use. He's good.
He's probably got like plus 20 to
He's
insight.
gonna roll the GM and not let us see now that.
Well, I am because I don't know what name is going to pop up.
That's why I said you're gonna do it. That's what I was
No, it
looking
didn't.
He's
for.
gonna be
It
like,
actually
you rolled a
did.
20.
Actually, I
Okay.
rolled a
Yeah.
21, but not natural. And you can see it on the screen. It is actually
Nice.
there.
Well, it's hard to roll a natural 21.
That'd be pretty sweet.
So
what kind of
you,
dice
you-
are you using?
So you're standing over him, and he's shorter than you are, Apollyon. Like he barely comes up to your chest, but he just looks up at you, and you look at those blue eyes. They're just crystalline blue, and he just kind of chuckles and he says, "You
So
are indeed
beautiful.
golden." But then turns to everybody else.
Thank you.
Let's get it to like slap Apolly. It's like, just stop that. Step back. All right. What we know has recently happened. We were pursuing an enemy that was trying to resurrect. Okay, I don't even know how to put this. They were trying to bring back the wisdom, or as what you called the wisdom, because we are not from.
Now.
Yeah, I suppose that's the best way to put it. We believe that we are from a late time in Loroupan history. The wisdom is gone. He's been gone for we think 15,000 years.
15,000 or 1,500?
Thousand.
No,
many,
it's
many.
15,000. Yeah, because the
Many.
the calamity was what, they were underground for 5,000 years after it happened.
They were.
Yeah. So, yeah. What you're doing now, and I hope we haven't altered things, works.
May I ask a question of you, Mr. Austeric? Yeah.
Adamus. My name
Not-
is Adamus.
Right, Amideus. What is the gem to you? You seem to know about the gem. We barely know about the gem. What is the gem to you?
I have an idea about that.
In
actually.
my vision, I saw that the 5 heroes would possess among them a gem of power, something that could raise an army to stand with us. The unfortunate truth is, we have been losing this war. The great wisdom has almost total control over this land. The celestial hosts stand at his side. The gods are happy to send their warriors to his aid. Dragons stand on our side and keep the celestial hosts at bay. But the Dreamer's armies are infinite. Through the great tree, he has access to untold realities.
See, that's what my people were brought here as slaves, guys. Remember when I said that?
Well, an army
As
raised
you're
by...
saying that, Blood,
Oh,
the gnome in the back yells something, and Adamus looks sharply at her. Veil translates for you. She's saying that you're under an illusion.
yeah, he'll drop it. He'll be like, I'm a tabaxi. My people have histories of our own, spoken word stories, that our people were brought here by the wisdom to serve under him. and we turned during the midst of the war and assisted Loroupa. That's what we know to believe is true.
The gnome has walked up and she says, what you are speaking of is accurate, but the same can be said for many of the peoples in this land. Your people is said to have come from a desert planet somewhere with a dark sun. Other races...
Sweet.
Sounds
metal.
Other races as well has come through. All serve the great wisdom, as do our own peoples, or at least most of them.
So you're saying Blood's an alien? That's awesome.
You're a mutated creature. What do you want? But as I was saying before he decided, don't worry about it. We wouldn't know what the word alien means. I'm from another world.
I just invented it.
But what just happened is, like I said, the people we were pursuing opened a portal after doing some kind of a magic ritual. We passed through into that chamber back there. We don't know where we are. Really? I guess if you're telling us we're on Loroupa, okay, that's a good sign.
You are on Loroupa.
And the tree is...
You're currently in the plains of Balathir. If that means anything to you.
I don't think we traveled anywhere. I think we stayed in the same place.
Are we in a very deserty region with mountains?
Thousands of years, the environment might be completely different.
He's just asking. I mean, because we know where the...
No, it's not.
Okay.
You're actually in something of a grasslands plain.
All right, it could have... Oh, well, you know what? 5 weeks...
But the mountain is pretty reminiscent of the mountain we know.
Oh, I'm not talking about the tree mountain. He was talking about the... But you know what? The world did kind of... after the wisdom was defeated, it was kind of a cataclysm on Loroupa, and people spent, we think, 5,000 years underground. So yeah, things could have changed.
Adamus and the gnome exchange glances at that. You hear her mumble something of like 500,000 years underground.
They don't need to
She's
know
also
about
cast
their
Yes.
future.
You know what? We need to give them as much... What is this going to do? How is this going to change things? We have no idea what's... I didn't even know this shit was possible, all right?
Veil, tell them if they want to win this war, they just got to listen to me. I'll teach them all the nuances of arena-based gladiator combat.
Yeah,
That's
Veil,
going to change the game.
Veil, don't do that.
Eloise checks on Mitchell Mouse.
Mitchell Mouse is he's still in the pack, but as you open it, he kind of climbs up and climbs up you. He's been hearing the whole thing, and he's going to sit on your shoulder.
You know, I have an idea about why that gem is important. Think of where we got the gem, guys. That is part of the heart of
Listen to what
the
they
world
said.
ender.
An army
But-
razor in the hands of Veil can only mean one
Not just
thing.
Veil. No. That's
It's
not...
in his
They
hands.
said, but they said the heroes. They didn't... But that's not what I'm getting at. What did we get that from?
I know.
The world ender. And what vision did we have? That very creature attacking the tree. We have part of its heart. Maybe we are the ones that are supposed to summon that thing. And that's why they've been getting beaten. because we haven't shown up with it yet.
It can't be controlled.
That's not the point. We summon it. I mean, we've already seen the vision, and then we know that.
You don't even know that's what that gem does.
Where'd you think we got it from? He's seen it in his vision. We got it from the heart of that
dead
thing.
Heart.
You know what?
Of something
I don't
very
know.
Powerful.
Hey, guess what? We just went to the past, and they're speaking a different version of fucking common here. We have no idea what's going on.
I'm telling you, that will amplify any necromantic powers that he has, and said that will raise an army. Listen to the words.
Yeah, but you have no idea that that's what that does.
Neither do you.
But where are you coming up with that's going to amplify his necromantic power?
It came from the most powerful dead source in existence.
It just is a magical item. It might amplify anything. But we know that creature existed about this time.
Well, I've been in its husk. My bet at
We've seen the vision.
Sure, yeah. Raise a monster. See what I care. I'm telling you what it'll do.
All right, then we're just supposed to raise armies of dead. The dead.
If Veil's in control of them, I trust Veil. Do you not?
He'd look straight at Veil's face and be like, "No."
They already said they've been losing. We could take every single loss they've had and turn it around on them if that gem is as powerful as I think it is.
You realize you've seen that he needs to keep constant control over the few zombies he raises. Do you really want hundreds of armies of them? They would become the dominant force on this world. We could irrevocably, let's just say the Loroupa that we knew, I mean, obviously it's going to be different now that we came back, but it definitely would not become true.
When you say that about controlling all the undead and how hard it is, I feel like Veil would be like, sounds like a nice vision to me.
Yeah. That's not going to come to pass.
The gnome, who had cast comprehend language on herself as well, climbs up into one of the chairs and looks out at the group of you, and she says, "You said that the legendary crystal came from a creature."
The heart of a creature, yes.
Yeah, you ever heard of Ambar Belthor?
No, I can't say that I have.
It may not be something that they had to experience yet.
Yeah, it's just some big old lizard. I wouldn't even worry too much about it.
But I guess he would, ask, he goes, look at the elf and be like, have you heard of that?
Adamus says the same thing that you did, because she can't understand what's being said, and so the gnome and Ohm are translating to her, and she says, "No, that's not a word I've ever heard as well. I can recognize it as some kind of elvish, nothing." Like,
again, your language is different to us. Think of that as elvish in a very long time.
Eloise asks, isn't that just the name that the elves gave it during that time?
Well, that's why I asked if she recognized it. He'd look at the gnome. He goes, "I do not know if you speak Elvish. That's why I."
Well, it sounds to me that your languages are quite a bit different from ours. Anyway, I've been listening this entire time, trying to make it out. But you've said that this gem comes from a creature, and you said that you were inside it and got it from a piece of its heart.
From a creature beyond size that you've ever seen before.
not to get into the
Take a dragon and multiply it by many.
Yeah, not to get into the politics of our day, but the elves, I don't know how they are now, but the elves are very guarded and have withdrawn.
Adamus holds up a hand at this point, and he says, "You've been saying for some time that you've come from a distant time, someplace far beyond ours. I appreciate your candor, and I do, believe me." But then he looks to everyone else, and he says very, like, you can hear the intent in his voice. This is a conversation that cannot go outside of this tent.
Agreed, because I think we would freak people out. But I mean, I guess
we already are.
Between Blood and Veil, it's like we could pull out books from our time and be like, the histories and stuff like it. You could see the dates and stuff like. they would they even recognize how to read the dates, they wouldn't recognize how to. It's like, see, I don't. Whatever that ritual was that they did, they drew on the power of the tree and of the wisdom, and we stepped through a portal. And even stepping through that portal, I guess it was he wouldn't say portal. He's like, we stepped through a glowing circle, like I guess a teleportation circle. Like he would know. He'd say use probably something like that. We stepped through that circle. And I don't know what y'all. I guess we haven't really had, because we immediately went into a fight. It's like, I don't know what y'all saw, but I kind of saw like civilization, like rewinding. It's like withdrawing itself, going backwards. I still don't understand that. So no idea what is going on here.
You say you've also had visions of your own, and you said you saw something about a monster.
Thing this came from. Can we describe it, I guess? Is that what he's...
Well, no, he's asking what your visions. You said you had visions. What were your visions of?
We saw this creature attacking the tree. And I guess there was a massive portal in the tree. And then we saw 5 silhouetted heroes assaulting it as well. And they disappeared into it. And it closed. And that was kind of where the vision ended. That creature was still there. Very, very large creature. The size of a mountain. Just about.
And you said this is the gnome. And you said that the gem you carry came from a creature, a significantly large creature.
We believe, based on speaking with the elves that we dealt with, that we think it's the same creature. Or same type of creature. Literally, we went into what we thought was a hole in a mountain, and it turns out it was its fossilized body. And it went deep underground.
The gnome turns and says, Adamus, do you think the ritual of Beltundit, I'll write that word for you.
Inspiration to blood. Natalie in the chat drew inspiration to blood.
Oh, yep, Natalie is in chat, so yes. The
The
gods seem to be looking down in favor of you right now. Blood.
You got 40 minutes to use it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Adamus thinks for a moment. The Beltunid has never been tested. And then he just kind of trails off, as he is thinking and kind of just stroking his chin, and he looks very contemplative. The gnome, I'm getting tired of just calling her the gnome, so she's going to introduce herself. Her name is Barada Etherweaver. And Barada says to you, there is a ritual that was stolen from the Wisdom's armies. We discovered it among a hidden cache. The ritual is large. It's pretty much the most complicated spell any of us had ever seen, and it took us some time to translate it and to make sense of it all. But the spell requires 12 wizards in total. But using a powerful relic of a creature, this ritual could, in fact, summon one. Or at least that's the theory.
So say if you had piece of the heart of such a creature, you're saying you could do that.
She turns and says, Adamus, you had the vision. You saw that they would carry a crystal that could summon the power of a multitude of armies. Could it be a creature? Adamus, he's having a hard time right now. He kind of scratches his chin and he's looking very thoughtful. That's not what I was expecting, to be sure. But my visions are never clear on the exact specifics, just the outcomes.
Well,
But if we don't use the crystal to create the creature, then the crystal will never exist to create the creature.
very, very, yeah, that's a good point. Now you said we could summon 100 armies. Now you've also said that this wisdom is able to bring in multitudes of armies from other worlds, other realms. Well, if we happen to summon this creature and it's fighting on our side, I don't know about everybody in this room, but if I saw something like that and it was attacking my side, I'm instantly just going to take an about face and start joining it. Because
it can't be controlled. There's no way.
You know what? But you have to assume, and we saw the vision, that's all we're going off of. We're going off of visions and prophecies here. If this thing is attacking the tree, I mean, people are going to see that, and if they had been on the fence before, they're going to attack with it just because they don't. And
or
also,
at the very least, they would get out of the way.
Yeah, we also don't. Yeah, we don't know that it can't be controlled either.
We know the consequences, though. 5,000 years underground.
But that wasn't just from the creature. That was also from the wisdom being defeated. That went into things as well. Maybe it's if we bring this, this creature could be a. Regardless, we generalize. We think we know exactly what happened back then. There's not a whole lot of material that anybody's been able to find. So it's really just story and speculation, really, quite a bit of it. But we don't know that it can't be controlled at all. Maybe once it's done, that's when it goes to town and people are driven under. But Loroupa survives. That's the important part here.
At all costs, right? These are the people that are going to have to pay the cost. Ask them
know
if
what?
they're okay with it.
We are here now, so we're going to pay that cost too.
I don't think so.
I'm going to be right there on that front line fighting with them out there.
Nah, we'll get back home somehow.
I don't think we are.
Well, let's glow out with a
Dave.
blaze of glory then.
They've had the vision that 5 heroes show up. Somehow they also knew the exact gear that we would be carrying. And we go and we fight the wisdom.
I don't know why it always ends up being Blood trying to convince me of something.
It's because
Like,
you
I'm
were always the
only-
most difficult. So he's like, he goes, so you take their vision, you take our vision. Peanut butter and jelly, buddy. Peanut butter and jelly. Well, whatever the Loroupan version of that is. Lamb and tuna fish, you know. Hey, everybody. Daddy. So, you know, Big Daddy reference, everybody. So he's like, trust me, this is not me being braggadocious. I'm freaking out inside. But I pretty much, since we have started this whole thing, I knew I wasn't going to survive this. I'm a pragmatist. I'm not having lofty dreams of what could possibly be. I knew in the end, if we defeat the army, we probably die doing it, or we lose and we die anyway.
So you want to
I'm not saying I want to
summon
die.
this beast?
I think we need to.
Okay.
Do you
That's
hear what
step
he's saying?
one.
They've been getting their ass kicked for years, and
Right.
they don't have the
That's
force.
step one. Okay. What's step two?
Question mark. And then step 3 is profit.
If we are really what they are expecting, and
Well, the
Oh.
the army of the great wisdom is what stands between us and the wisdom. But as long as the great wisdom survives, Loroupa will never ever be safe.
and
You say this in your vision. This thing rushed and destroyed
it
the town
destroys
and
the tree.
destroys the tree. Well, if that gets the great wisdom off Loroupa and frees all of our people from his rule, from the tyranny, whatever comes next would be an acceptable situation.
Yeah, it's not that society died where we came from. It went underground for a while and thrived to a degree. He'd ask, he goes, just by it, he said, does the name Balris mean anything to you? Just a question.
He shrugs and shakes his head. No, should
Okay.
it?
You know what? I don't know. Let's put a pin in that for later. Yeah, now, like I said, whatever happened, whatever sent us to where we are now, I don't know if we coming back changes things. I hope things either get better, that would be great, or they don't get worse. But I mean, so Loroupa survives. That's all that matters. This creature comes in whatever form, however it's there. We assumed it was kind of already here. We didn't know it had to be summoned. But Loroupa survives. And that's all that matters.
You just have to understand there's been so much destruction in my wake. The whole surface.
But that's not your fault. You can't think of the. Yes, you made a mistake in Bradfordshire. Don't worry, this name will mean nothing to you. You made a mistake there. That was your fault.
Maybe
Just
don't
like, hey,
tell them.
you know what?
Let's not bring
Just,
that up right now.
that
Just
doesn't-
vague.
that doesn't mean-
vague is fine. Be vague.
Doesn't mean any. Hey, you know what? The attack on Rowena. That's pretty much. He's gonna look at Veil and Eloise. He goes, "That's pretty much on us. You are not the only one with darkness in your past, but this is not going to be your fault." I mean, we've seen the visions. They've seen the visions. Pretty much sure this is going to happen.
Polly, any thoughts about a beast that makes you look small?
There's a lot.
Oh yeah, I say bring it on.
You're not going to fight it, buddy.
What? I'm gonna ride it into battle then.
I mean, you could ride on one of its hair follicles.
Hair follicles. I'm no flea.
You would be to it. So we don't, like I said, we don't know if this creature is the. I mean, I'm still can't get around the fact that you called out each of our weapons, except for Veil's. You didn't talk about his, but he did have the hero's gem on him, so I guess that was him being called out.
Actually, one of the lines has to do with command of the undead. The command of the undead was one of the signs of the heroes, and your friend there.
Yeah.
He points and there's those two zombies behind Veil, giving him a back massage.
In our day, what he does is actually pretty frowned upon. But you guys cheered, and I think that probably gave him a little confidence. Thank God Jeremy's not here, because he'd be like, yeah, yep.
Yeah, it's a shame
like,
Jeremy's not here for that one.
It's actually yeah, it's pretty bad when people see it. I don't know how that is here. I mean, this is part of your prophecy, so obviously you people are excited.
It's more or less just getting used to the smell.
It was a sign of the great heroes. So necromancy is not really. It's not done very often, except for in times of great need. But as one of the signs of the great heroes,
The heroes, yes.
It was something that we were looking for.
Speaking of heroes, you
This is
said
the easiest and craziest job interview ever.
the 5 went in and 5 come out, and
technically that's exactly what happened. 5 went in and 5 went out, and
What would have happened if the 5 that went in came out without these weapons that you see?
then we would have been lost.
Interesting.
well, because those 5 you sent in didn't have these weapons, correct? There wasn't anything on them that was similar?
No, nothing at all.
Yeah.
That's funny. I didn't see a 5. Did you see a 5? 'Cause it was
Dude, we're
nobody
holding
was
some
in
of
there.
No, not at all.
We are literally holding some of their shit.
You were the first people we met since we've been here.
Literally on Blood's belt. There's a sword.
Make a deception check, somebody.
Apollyon took something.
If you're gonna fucking bring it up, why would you bring that up? I have no idea, but if you really want to do that, go ahead and make a deception check.
I don't think I want to bring it up. I think Blood should make the roll.
I was just going to tell the flat out truth. I was like, yeah, we came out fighting enemy. They started fighting us.
We'll tell them about the cult guys that we did actually see that teleported away.
Oh. That is a good idea.
Okay, so you're just talking about
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'd say it's like when like I said, we were pursuing somebody. She was just Abir.
Yeah, Abir's a human.
They're
Actually,
both humans.
They both are.
Yeah, because you said he.
Yeah, Abir and Golden Tongue are both human.
There were a pair of humans that came through, and while we were trying to take them down, they teleported out somewhere, and it had to be. I guess he'd asked Veil. He goes, Veil knows they can't get very far. Maybe he'd say 500 feet. Tell the dimension door is what we think they used, right? They used dimension door, wasn't it?
You think they did. You're not quite
well,
sure.
Yeah. I mean, blood doesn't know shit about that anyway.
All you know is that they disappeared. You're not entirely sure how.
They kind of up and disappeared on us after they said they were going to go summon some help, and then they just disappeared. Did anybody show up outside the entrance? Did anybody notice anything?
Adamus
two people
says,
running away from the mountain.
Yeah, Adamus says not that we saw. We can ask the scouts and see, because we do have people out watching the hills. They
were very powerful individuals, so it'd probably be a good idea to know where they went. Because God knows.
Moving slower than the other.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Well, I mean, if he's, forgot about that. He's got 2.5 more days. It's like if they make it to, I don't know what happened to the Wisdom Army's leadership, because they will have information that. You know what? I don't know. They would have the same info about what is to come.
Adamus turns to the elven woman, who he identifies as Levados. He's called her that a few times. Levados Gladewalker. And he tells her they're saying that they were pursuing two individuals who are worshippers of the great wisdom, and who they believe have special insight into things that the wisdom needs to know. Send word to all the scouts. Find out if anybody has seen them. They said they're extremely powerful, so watch and observe and track, but do not engage without the great heroes themselves. The elf puts a hand to her heart and bows and says something, and as she's walking away, Veil translates that she said she will comply before the woman walks out from the tent. Adamus says, I can only imagine how tired you all are.
Yeah. Fought a dead dragon. Had to get through a lot of. Yeah,
you're
things
covered
happen.
in blood.
That too. Well, blood's probably not covered in blood. Oh no, he's gotten messed up a few times and he got healed. So.
And you've definitely been hit a few times and scorch marks and whatever. But you all showed up with very clear signs of gone through a very horrific series of battles.
Oh yeah.
Adamus says, I think it's best that for now you all rest. We will provide you a tent and the means to refresh yourselves. I would very much like to speak with you again privately here soon. The gnome speaks up. I will be there as well. Yes, of course, Barada, you can come as well, and we'll find a way to interpret for Corwild. He should probably be there in hearing everything as well. And Corwild says, Well, yes, I do expect a full report on this entire thing. Thank you for acknowledging my existence.
Is he
Because he
the
can't.
dwarf?
Yeah, he's the
Is he-
dwarf. Anyway, Ademus says, well, for now, Corwild, see to some lodging for them. I think we should probably be up at first light, but there's only a handful of hours left in the morning, and as long as the scouts are keeping watch, I think it's safe to remain here this evening. He turns back to you all and he says, there's a lot we need to discuss, and there's a lot you all need to discuss, I think,
Yeah.
before we meet again. Take this evening and refresh yourselves. Ask for anything of the guards outside, and they will bring it to you. And we will meet first thing in the morning before we plan to head out. You seem to have the tools of our salvation, or at least the tools that I've seen will lead to that. But the things you've said are troubling as well.
Yeah, things you've said are equally so. Wait
A
till we
few
show you
moments-
a map.
Yeah. A few moments later, a couple guards arrive with the elf. The elf says that she sent forward the instruction. They're sending runners to the scouts to try to search for the individuals you described. You're eventually led to a tent. A large enough thing, enough for 5 cots and washstand and things like that. And you're told that they'll bring you all a meal. If you wish to speak with anyone, just give the word. Otherwise, this tent is yours to rest. And they ask that you don't leave camp, but you're certainly welcome to camp if you so choose. Just let the guards know they're there for your safety, as well as your unknowns. So you are given a tent and a moment of peace. And about that time, Mitchell reforms himself as well, turning back into his human form. He tells you that I've had some time to think, and I heard some of what was going on. Polymorphing into a mouse doesn't. It gives you it allows you a sense of self, but it also it's your mind is limited to your shape. So I've at least got some good rest. And I heard a little bit of chatting out there. This tent is nice, don't get me wrong, but
we can do better.
I, for one, think I'm going to do better and head into my mansion. If any of you wish to join me, you're certainly welcome. He then begins casting a spell, and no doubt Veil watches very, very closely. But in the end, he casts a spell, and these 2 large, golden, almost amber doors appear before you, glowing slightly, that open into a lavish interior, opulent.
Of course it is.
Mitchell tells you, all of you can see in these doors. Do not worry. If you wish to come in later, you can. But no one else will, unless, they've attuned themselves to do so. Please, enjoy my wonderful, magnificent manor. I, for one, plan to go take a bath. And without further ado, he turns and walks through those golden amber doors into the interior of his mansion. leaving you all, in the tent. So what do you do?
Veil says, "Crikey, I guess we'll go on
Oh
in."
my god.
Ouch, that hurt my soul.
And you said it's still like morning, right? So
It's actually more late afternoon at this
okay.
point. You would come out in the middle of the afternoon.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm trying to think of how I'm going to use my inspiration. So I figured a jaunt amongst the camp at night when nobody can fucking know he's there.
Yeah, Liam's in that door pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, because he said they're going to be bringing meals.
I assume Eloise is pretty quick in there too.
Oh yeah, definitely Eloise would be.
So the door, does it close like regular? I mean, and would blood be? It
appears to be just a door. You can open and close it at will. It's just double doors that glow in an amber golden light. But once you go through and close them again, no one else can see them.
Yeah. It's like, I think we need to have something out here for when they come, and we can summon the others, because they're going to freak the fuck out if we're just gone. So yeah, blood will post up inside the tent, outside the door.
Okay.
Yeah, you're talking to just Apollyon right now.
Well, I mean, he goes, if you want, he's like, go in and tell them, buddy. He's like, we're going to need to have somebody out here. It's like, I'll stay out and wait, because they're going to be coming with food at some point. And they will go crazy if we are not here.
All right, I'll stay in the tent. I got some magic items to attune to.
You certainly can do so. It's honestly they basically about an hour later they show up with a dinner meal. It's just the two of you in the tent, and of course the guards immediately start like, where is everybody else? Where did they all go? Blah blah blah.
I guess, would they not announce themselves first? Or
They
would
probably
just
would have.
Just come right in.
They probably would have announced themselves. We're coming in with meals, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, if they come in before, stop them from coming in. He'd be like, just, and he's gonna shit. I mean, I'm sure they've seen magic. They have to.
They would not see the doors. They would just.
Yeah, well, if he opens the door, when they see it.
No, they wouldn't.
Oh.
No,
because they weren't invited.
Yeah. Okay. Shit. Hopefully, you guys are within shouting distance. Yeah, he'd be like, "This is gonna, God, this is gonna freak the fuck out." You know what? He would just be like, "They went to check out the camp." He just kind of like, I guess if they kind of understand him, they're checking out the camp, and he's just gonna kind of point out the door. He's like, "They'll be back soon."
Make a persuasion check.
Yeah, we'll find out what it is before I. Maybe I'll have to use.
You've got inspiration.
Because you guys are just fucking gone. Alright, you know what? Fuck it. We'll burn it now.
Okay, using your Natalie's inspiration.
Alright, it's a 23.
Nice.
You like try to gesticulate and explain yourself, what's going on. That they're just wandering about camp, and like the guards just kind of gesture food you all want. You're like, yeah, no problem. Well, they'll be back soon. You try to, and like the guards, they don't seem to be too worried about it. You're there. They give you the food. They're like, you want anything else? You're like, no, we're good. That sort of thing, and they leave you to your own devices.
Yeah, I mean, he would just Blood would be like telepod. He's like, go in there and get them the hell out here. It's like, so if they come back, boom, they're here. It's like we're gonna end up getting killed.
We're fine. Let them relax.
They brought food for us, so I'm sure Mitchell's got something going on in there. But they were nice enough to prepare food.
Oh yeah,
I'll peek my head in the doors.
The rest of y'all who are not in the tent have been just pampered by the servants of the mansion, because they just create different versions of these ethereal servants that will do pretty much anything you ask. They've laid a huge
100
feast
of
for
them.
you all. There's 100 of them. They've given you all massages and baths. You've all been cleaned up, that sort of thing. Eventually, Veil will come out.
Oh my
like,
god.
all complete, like in a bathrobe, hair up in
Yeah.
a towel, and he'll kind of poke his head out the tent and be like, and cast comprehend languages again to tell them, hey, we're in this magical mansion. If you need anything, we'll be out in about 8 hours or so. Leave us alone. And then he'll be like, you guys are missing just this great place. You, on the other hand, have been given just, your typical army campfire gruel.
It's perfectly fine for him. He ain't eating that trader's food.
Oh, I want to be in a mansion.
Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead. I'm just.
Oh boy.
We need somebody out here just because I still don't trust this whole situation.
All right, don't stay up all night worrying.
I think that's probably a great place to end things for this evening. Blood's in a tent by himself while everyone else is being pampered and just utterly delighted by this magnificent mansion. There's
Blood's
levels to this thing.
He's waiting to go out into the camp. He's going to explore when it's dark.
Well, we'll get to that next session. Because there's this mansion is just gorgeous. Like there's heated pools for everybody. Mitchell eventually shows up again, resplendent in clean, fine quality robes. Still bald. Still bald, but can't have everything. But he's at least had his makeup done. He's had his nails done, and he's had some time to think. But we'll get to that next session.
Yeah, because doesn't everything disappear that came from the man? So when Veil walked out, wouldn't he
take
just
it
be
with us?
Wouldn't he be naked? Because wouldn't the robe disappear?
Probably, but
So
you think Veil would care?
I'm just saying. So a naked drow just pops out and says, "Hey guys, we're."
Maybe as long as you keep like one toe inside the door. Who knows?
Honestly, I like the idea of him just coming out naked, not even thinking about it.
Just assuming that it's still there.
Yeah.
Guys, we're having fun in our magical fuck shack. Don't come back later.
It's as garish and fabulous as you would expect it to be from
Mitchell, of course.
Yeah, like just tapestries everywhere. Every single wall is freaking velvet. Every surface
What is this, velvet?
Yeah, like the couches, the cushions, all velvet, satin sheets. It's just it's ridiculous.
The wallpaper tastes
If it
like
was socially
snot,
acceptable, I would drape myself in velvet.
It's true. It's true, and Mitchell certainly has. But anyway, that's where we're going to end things for this evening. So, thank you to everyone who watched. We very much appreciate you tuning in and hanging out with the Fab Five, who are now apparently being hailed as great heroes and are expected to fight this Dreamer army. They're in the past. Who knows what's going to happen, but we'll find out next Monday at 7 p.m. So, on behalf of everyone in the Fab Five and everyone in the Random Rhapsody crew, I just want to say that thank you, folks. It's been a delight. So long. Good luck. And until next time, keep it fabulous, baby. Good night.
Watching.